Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Blacktown TV's Beat in the Talk. My name is Simone Jackson. Of course, I'm your hostess with the mostest, here to bring you guys another great episode. Of course, we all know Beat in the Talk is the podcast show where we have engaging conversations with influential guests in the entertainment industry. I'm really excited to introduce our next guest for today. She's a screenwriter, director. She has founded the Women Filmmakers of Color, which is a social media platform to bring diversity and women's voices of color to the forefront. Please, everyone, welcome Miss Sheree Ross. Hello, Sheree.
Hi, Simone. And I know it's spelt with two E's, but it's actually Sherry. It's the old-fashioned way of saying.
That is why I get so confused, because it does. Okay, Cherry. Okay, Cherry, right?
Yes. I know there are a lot of famous people with that spelling that say Sheree, but yes, it is just Sherry.
Oh, okay, perfect. But how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. We are super excited and glad to have you on here with us today. We're really excited to talk.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been following your work on Twitter. That's where I noticed your stuff of the women filmmakers of color. That's where I've been checking out your work. So I'm really excited to begin with our first question. How did the women filmmakers of color get started?
Well, it was during a diversity panel that I attended at the Austin Film Festival, a couple of years ago. And one of the panelists who did the inspiring for women filmmakers of color had fairly recently started her own crowdfunding site to help support a larger community of women filmmakers out of her own experience of making a film in a small community. And, when she was up there talking about it, I was just so touched and inspired by her story and vision, as well as the fact that her belief system was very much a reflection of my own. And so by the end of the festival, I was completely inspired to do something that was more pointed towards women filmmakers of color. Absolutely. And that's how I got started.
Yeah, and I'm glad it did get started because, as I say with a few of my other interviewees, there is a lack of diversity and voices in media, social, and films and stuff. So doing something like this really helps bring many different voices, to the table for definitely entertainment.
Absolutely. And, because I'm a writer-director, I wanted to do something that was simple. Because I like to create, and I didn't want to get bogged down in the doing of this idea. And it works perfectly because I research all the time about the industry, which I think is very important for all filmmakers. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, I will just start posting what I find out there. And it's, people seem to gravitate toward and appreciate what I'm doing. So I'm happy about being able to share a larger diversity of voices, women's voices, on this site.
Absolutely. And Cherry, can you give us can you tell us, how did your passion for film get started?
Well, I have two stories to that. One of them is a little less direct. I was born on the same night as the 34th Annual Academy Awards.
Love it.
And that was when one of my favorite musicals, West Side Story, won for Best Picture, and a woman of color won for Best Supporting Actress, Rita Moreno. So, it's clearly my destiny to win an Oscar, and you got to be in the industry to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But actually, the real story to that is that my mom took me when I was in high school to Los Angeles, and I saw the first Star Wars at Grauman's Chinese Theater. And it was just bigger than life. I mean, there was nothing like Star Wars. It hadn't, nothing like it had been made before. Nothing had been made to that scope before. And, as early as 9 years old, I had been working in the theater. I had learned all stuff about backstage and technical side. And I just had this epiphany that I could translate a lot of that knowledge into the motion pictures. And so I was like, I think I want to do that for the rest of my life or for a living.
Yeah. I completely relate to that, wanting to, as a young child, one of the first movies that I saw that really moved me was, The Imitations of Life. I mean, I really can't watch that movie without falling into tears.
Yeah,
I gotta have my
absolutely.
gas, gotta have my little small bottle of wine, my tissues. Hey, it's a movie that gets you in the feels. But what really inspired me about that movie was, afterwards, I asked my mom. I was like, I wonder if anyone got into her head, the actress's head, the main actress, and really asked her how she was able to do, a film like this, interview her, talk to her, And my mom was like, well,
Exactly.
my mom was like, well, back then, hon, that stuff really didn't happen because it was so segregated. I mean, it was even an honor for her even to be in the film, but she wasn't even allowed to go to the premiere. She wasn't really allowed to. So, that stuff really didn't happen. So I was like, wow, I would have loved
Yeah.
to be able to talk to her, get into her head, and see how she was able to do a great job as she, did. And as like you said before, it's so important to bring diversity and women, especially women of color, to the forefront and get their stories out because they're not being told as much as they should.
Exactly, and there are no archives to that. I mean, there wasn't really a black press or an of color press in Hollywood during that time, and so it's a shame that we've lost the archive of so many people of color that paved the way for us in Hollywood.
I agree. And that's why I think what you do and what we do is so important because these women women of color and people of different walks of life have a story, and their stories are not being
Absolutely.
told because it's not the same cookie cutter story that people are used to hearing, but their stories matter just because it's not something I'm used to hearing or something that you're used to hearing. Each story matters. So this is why I believe what we do is so important.
I totally agree. Just getting the word out.
Absolutely, getting the word out. Yeah. So, Miss Cherry, can you also explain, and give us here at Black Talent TV, name the people who inspired you to start the Women Filmmakers of Color?
Well, it's actually one person specifically who inspired me to start Women Filmmakers of Color, or WFOC, as it is also known. And that person is Emily Best, and she is the founder and CEO of Seed and Spark. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Of course, I love it,
It,
love it, love
it's
it.
it's a great crowdfunding resource for all filmmakers out there. And she was the person on the diversity panel at the festival that got my attention that day. And she inspired me and motivated me to do my part to help change the face of this industry. She blew me away with the origin story of Seed and Spark, which is why they crowdfund the way that they do. And it's a little bit different than other crowdfunding platforms. And she talked about some of the things that I believe, which is that I don't think that film needs to be just relegated to Hollywood. I mean, look at Atlanta, look at Texas. If their legislation is doing right now, it's a little wonky. I live in Texas. And, even Louisiana, I think a person should be able to make a living as a filmmaker anywhere they live in the world. And she, spoke to that, walks the walk and talks the talk about real inclusion and diversity efforts. So if anybody in your listening audience is producing a film or a website or, a web series, they should check it out. They walk you through a lot of the stuff that filmmakers don't like to do, like the marketing and the audience building, which is necessary if you want, success.
Absolutely. And I definitely agree. Anybody that's got a film idea, producing a film, web series, what have you, please check out Seed and Spark. Just one of my favorite places to go to check out, new emerging filmmakers. And it's really great to see, some of the fresh ideas that they come up with. And it's, like I said,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's one of my favorite sites. I go there religiously. I check it all the time. So I definitely agree with you. Definitely Black Talent TV audience, go there and check out, the work. And that's a really great, inspiring story. I'm really glad she inspired you to start, WFOC.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen how Seed and Spark has grown. It's affiliated with other companies, and it's really grown its base of independent filmmakers. I mean, you're right. You go on there and you could just get lost for days just discovering women filmmakers of color from all walks of life. And I just think that's great.
Me too. Me too. And just to kind of play off of this a little bit, you are not only are you a screenwriter and the founder of WFOC, but you are also a director as well.
I am indeed.
Can you tell us,
I am indeed.
The process of going into directing?
Well, my process can be twofold sometimes. I've only really directed a couple of things that I've written in my career, and the majority of the things that I've directed, I haven't, and I was hired to do. So I will kind of walk through that process from if you're hired to direct a script. First of all, if you didn't write it, you need to get to know it. And so, I sit down with it. It's like homework. I have to understand it from page to page and understand each character and understand their like emotional arc and why they're doing the things that they're doing so that I can best translate that to the actors that, we cast, and also translate that to the many different departments that are involved in film. I as a director, I'm not making the film by myself.
Of course.
And so, I have to hire the best team to create the look of the film, both on set and then once it goes into edit, and as well as the costuming and everything. And so you really have to sit down with the script and understand it. And that's a part of directing that I think a lot of directors don't realize. There's a lot of thinking about budgets and, patient, locations are really important, especially for independent filmmakers, and in the right location that you can get the most bang out of your buck for. And all of those things are important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into directing. There's more than just sitting in the chair and directing people where to go. There's a lot of thought process and a lot of, thinking about the budget, thinking about, like you just said, thinking about who is the best team I can get to work with me. There's a lot that goes in there. There's a big spectrum that goes in there.
Absolutely. And then I can bring in how women filmmakers of color can help with that, because if you follow us, you'll see a lot of women filmmakers of color follow WFOC, and it's kind of like a little networking. It's kind of turning into that. You see somebody post something and you kind of see what they do, if they're a cinematographer or do music or produce, and you can private message them and start building your own little community, even from the WFOC social media platform, and start building your crew and start building, see what actresses are out there, what they're doing.
Yeah. Black Talent TV audience, make sure you definitely check that out for, other women filmmakers of color and, the teachings and tools of what goes into independent filmmaking. Absolutely. And just to play off of that just a little bit more, Miss Sheree, can you tell us why is WFOC so important to have?
Well, I think it's important because I think it's important that we all learn how to run our own productions and our art as business. That we see ourselves capable of creating viable and sustainable businesses, and that we just don't think of ourselves as just like making a film, but that we think bigger. I mean, it's, the industry is in upheaval right now. We can really take advantage of that. I mean, we can, but we can only take advantage of it if we think that way, if we understand it, and if we're prepared to do it. I think it's wonderful what I see in Hollywood right now, with Black women really stepping up to the plate and moving quickly to develop projects, executive produce other people's projects. I think I just saw today, I don't know if you saw this, that Issa Rae is getting together, I think, with BET to create a pilot contest.
Oh, wow.
So if you've got an idea for a pilot, you can. It's pretty thorough. It's not like script. You have to send in a one-page description, and you have to pitch it, and you have to pitch like the series. So, I mean, you really have to be prepared to do all of that. But I think that those things are great, and they're just going to keep expanding. So that's why I think it's important, because if you follow me on WFOC, you'll see that I've, posted that. So then you can get on it and do something about it.
Yeah, Absolutely. And no, I did not know about the Issa Rae and the BET thing. That is wonderful to hear. And we'll definitely, Black Talent TV will definitely be looking out for more when more information about that comes out. That is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see, what that will transpire to.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and not only that, but it's a great place for independent women filmmakers of color to market and promote the project. If I see it, I'll retweet it. It's in my, in any of the things that on my social media. And, recently there's been a lot of energy around people private messaging WFOC and saying, hey, we have this project. Will you retweet it for me? And if you send me a pre-baked tweet, I will gladly do that.
Ooh, I hope the Black Talent TV audience is listening. That is definitely an endorsement you guys would definitely love to have if you're a new filmmaker wanting to get promotion for their projects. Miss Sheree is definitely willing to tweet out your projects, so make sure you guys tweet to her. That is definitely important. But can you
Thank you.
can you tell us what future projects you are involved with that you can just give a little dish about to Black Talent TV?
Absolutely. Well, right now I'm actually working on a television pilot. So I found what Issa was doing very interesting. It's kind of making me up my game and think a little bit broader than just writing. I understand a pilot really thoroughly, but I haven't done the extra homework of figuring out the pitch and figuring out the kind of the long-term Bible. I kind of have ideas. And so that was great inspiration for me. But the project that I'm working on is called Kingdom. And it's a mix. I call it Empire Boardwalk meets Eve's Bayou meets Mudbound. And it takes place in a fictional Negro town in the 20s where there are two sides, and one has more money and wealth and education and high church, and the other side kind of struggles closer to their slave roots and has revival church. And it's kind of how these two groups intermingle to survive. And then another project that I'm writing and working on is a feature film. It's called Accidental Hearts. It's a lesbian love story around the subject of marriage and coming out, and also how to let go and move on. We've all fallen in love with people that have moved on or away from us. But it's also a comedy. It's a comedy. The other one's a drama.
They both sound like really good, powerful projects. I mean, Kingdom sounds like it'll be very gritty, very gripping, something that
yes.
I love to watch. Yeah, those are the type of shows I love to watch. So I can imagine myself binge watching Kingdom. So I cannot wait to see more about that when that happens. I'm excited, especially the Accidental Love.
Hearts. Accidental Hearts.
There we go. I can't wait to see that because I do feel, yeah, I knew I was missing a word. I was like this, you're almost close to sounding good. One word away. That's one word away. I was one word away. But my point was to that, I can't wait to see that too, because I do believe that we do definitely need more women of color love stories, especially, centering around women of colors that are queer. We definitely need those stories more.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I really am happy that, shows like Black Lightning, which has the first Black lesbian superhero.
Mm-hmm. I know, and just got renewed for a second series, right?
I know. So I cannot wait. I'm excited that they're going to continue that. I can't wait to see where they'll go with that character. Like I said, I'm glad we are finally stepping up and telling these stories because they deserve to be told and because it's been a long time coming for them to be told. So I'm so glad.
Absolutely.
These
and I want to see them expanded to the cinema. The gay male storyline has kind of made its way into popular audiences and theaters, and I want to see that same thing for lesbians and trans.
Absolutely. Get every single person of every walk of life on that big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Deserves to be there. These stories matter. They are humans just like us. They are no different. So, there's no reasons why these types of stories shouldn't be at the forefront like, regular stories. I definitely agree with that, Miss Cherry, definitely. So I'm just, where do you hope to take women filmmakers of color media in the future?
I think women filmmakers of color can become many things. I have a lot of different ideas. Again, I'm a creator at my heart, even though I've had other businesses in another incarnation in my life. So I'm really feeling like I want it to grow organically, and whatever it becomes, I'm willing to show up for it. And it could be anything from a production company to a marketing acquisitions distribution company, or even an artist management company. So we'll see. We'll see what it grows into. Right now, I'm just trying to grow the numbers and being very mindful that this is about exposure for women filmmakers of color, also about educating them on what's going on in the industry, as well as inspiring. You know, I love to get in there and find out what women filmmakers of color of Hollywood are doing to inspire the indie filmmaker, as well as, market what the indie filmmakers doing to inspire some of those people that are still in school. I mean, I've gotten messages from women filmmakers who are in college who are like, thank God for, your
Right. Right. So that's awesome. I really can't wait to see where women and filmmakers of color, goes into the future. You clearly have a very strong sense of direction where you want to take it. So I'm really excited to see where it'll go.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. So with recent, we were just talking about this. I just want to divulge in this a little bit more. With recent
Mm-hmm.
hits of Black Panther and Girls Trip, do you think Hollywood is finally bringing down those walls and finally opening up to not only women filmmakers of colors, but we just recently had Love, Simon come out, and I
Mm-hmm.
think Hollywood is finally embracing these types of stories.
I do. And I think, Black Panther, every single time I turn on my phone or look on the internet, it's breaking records. It's breaking
Yeah.
records here, it's opened up an entire movie movement in Saudi Arabia or Dubai, I think. And it's changing the landscape. It just beat out Titanic. So I don't know if you've had these discussions with other people, but there were renaissances in the 70s and 90s where Black films kind of hit a peak, and we were hoping that they would take off. But even in those conversations, nobody was talking. When they're talking about those moments, they're not talking about women filmmakers of color. Women filmmakers did not have those advantages in the 70s, and I think Oprah is the only one in the 90s that had her own studio. And so I see it differently now because so many filmmakers of all colors are just coming to the forefront. And with things like Netflix and the way that HBO is doing things and the way that Amazon Studios, it's kind of opened up a platform for people of color that they didn't used to have access to. It used to and everything. And so now we have the opportunity to really step up to the plate and deliver quality entertainment, and the audience is there. So I think it's going to be incredible, actually.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And yes, the audience is there, and they are in demand and hungry for these movies, and they're hungry for to see representation of themselves on and off the screen. It is,
Mm-hmm.
and you're right. We need to start really talking about women filmmakers of color because they have made an impact on cinema and film culture, and they don't getting enough recognition. See, again, recognition.
There it is,
Yeah, I did it
recognition.
again. I did it again. I was hoping this wouldn't happen. Recognition. There we go. Oh my
Perfect.
goodness, the struggle again was real. It was real, folks. It was real. This happened again. But recognition. That is what I was trying to say. Oh Lord, recognition.
Well, I think we can say it over and over because they do need that recognition. I don't think we can say it enough.
Right. We really, really, really can't. When was it Issa Rae that won the Emmy Award? The first Emmy Award? I think she was the first queer.
Well, the first lesbian. Was
Yeah.
the first lesbian of color, I think, to win the Emmy.
Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, that's great that she won, but wouldn't it be great if she wasn't the first, if we had, more that won, if she
Yeah.
was just one, she's just part of that one that just many that have won the award. Don't get me wrong, I thought it was great that she won, but I just felt like it would be great if she was part of many that have won,
Hmm.
and it
Absolutely.
yeah, and I am really glad that the tides are slowly changing, but I really felt like she should have been part of one of many, because there are many women of color, especially queer women, who have written stories that haven't gotten much media attention because we're still,
Yeah.
yeah, and
I
they
mean,
just
Dee Rees should have been. Well, Dee Rees actually should have just won an Oscar. She didn't do Emmy work. I was thinking of Pariah, um, but that was actually not on television, so she couldn't have gotten an Emmy. But yes, there are too many firsts, but they got to start somewhere, I guess.
this is true. This is true. And just to ask the final question, Miss Cherry, can you tell the Black Talent TV audience why they should support women filmmakers of color?
Well, I hope they will support us because it's there for them. I created it for women filmmakers of color, and as I stated before, I want to be a bridge that helps people cross into their career and be successful and offer inspiration and news about the industry, and have the ability to connect other filmmakers to other filmmakers. So if you follow women filmmakers of color on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I'm also on, there's WFOCmedia.com. You can learn about women filmmakers of color that you don't know, and you can hear about films and web series that you never heard of before, and go watch them and go support these people and become a fan. And if they crowdfund, go give them a couple of dollars. Everybody needs some money to bring this art into the world. And so that's why it would be great if everybody on Black Talent TV, after they hear this, goes over to Twitter and finds Women Filmmakers of Color, follows us. And if you hear of anything, if you're a filmmaker, let us know about your projects. If you have watched something that you think is incredible, let us know about that. And we'll find that filmmaker and, do our best to get them on our different platforms. So, I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think it's nice to have access to diverse voices and diverse points of view. And the more we help each other out, the better off I think the world will be.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. I also agree. Black Talent TV audience, please make sure you send Cherry the same love you send to us. Make sure you go to the Women Filmmakers of Color's Twitter, Instagram. You follow, you check out, you support. Again, if you have a series, web series, short film, independent film, please go to Women Filmmakers of Colors and submit that and show them their work. If you've got something that you've seen and you want to get attention for it and you want immediate attention for it, please also go to Women Filmmakers of Color, and also make sure you support Cherry and her directing and writing and what she's going to do. Her projects is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm super excited to see them. They're definitely going to be a game changer for film and TV, so I'm excited.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate you taking your time, and I really appreciate, your understanding and doing this with us. And I'm really glad we were able to successfully get you down here and talk with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Simone. Me the opportunity to talk to your audience and, bring voice. And thank you for bringing voice to the Black talent in our industry.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you. And like I said, we can't wait to see more projects coming from you. We can't wait to see, what else Women Filmmakers of Color brings. And, we are excited to support your guys' journey. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Black Talent TV audience, again, my name is Simone Jackson. I really appreciate you guys listening. And again, make sure you follow Women Filmmakers of Color. Make sure you follow Miss Cherry. She's always doing some great projects. Make sure you check those out and support them as well. And just help bring, diversity and new voices to the forefront. We definitely need that support. And we really appreciate Miss Sheree for sitting down and talking with us today. If you are willing to advertise or wanting to come down to talk with me at Black Talent TV, just check us out at info@blacktalenttv.com. We are always willing to hear from you guys, whether it's talk, advertise, or if you guys have a film you guys also want to submit, make sure you check us out at info@blacktalenttv.com. And again, my name is Simone Jackson. I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss Cherry. I want to thank you again for joining us. And I just hope everyone here at
Absolutely.
y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll be back soon. Bye.